Can you go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the interruption because I was not able to do it from my end. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So here, this is a Stockholm Resilience Center, and they identified 9 key areas where this art system is getting disrupted. And you can go to the next one. Can you go to the next slide? Yes, so you'll find then there are 9 areas where it is getting disrupted, these planetary boundaries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 2009, there are 3 boundaries that is crossed. Actually, my slides will be there, and I'm not going to talk much on the climate issue. Rather, I'm going to spend more time on how we respond to that. So you'll find that red ones are the ones where these boundaries are getting crossed. Like here, you have this biodiversity, and then in this case, again, you have this biosphere, and then this climate change. And then there are these 9 boundaries. So, and that is and now, as you move to this next 2015, so 4 boundaries are closed, and 2023, you see there are 6 boundaries crossed. So that is alarming. And if you see the orange and red is the most alarming one. Orange, they have just started, and this circle is the limit, within which we should operate, but it is exceeding that. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So planetary boundaries. So it is that, again, according to the Stockholm Resilience Center, the 3 of the 9 key processes have crossed the safety limits, okay, into the zones of uncertainty like climate change, biodiversity loss, and nitrogen cycle. And these definitions are already there. I don't need to talk about it. But now, 4 such boundaries, or 6 boundaries today, they have exceeded the limit. Can you go to the next slide? And this is the scientific foundation of planetary cycles, like how nitrogen is getting into the soil, and how carbon is emitted, and how this water is managed. Next slide, please. So in this, what happens that all scientists agree that there should be an open system with respect to energy. It's like you have this biosphere, and you have this lithosphere, this earth surface, and now we need to ensure that there is a slow geological cycles and slow volcano eruptions and weathering, and then mineralization, sedimentation, and all that will come into that. And in the biosphere, you have all that flora, fauna, and then, of course, this photosynthesis that pays the bill for that natural photosynthesis process. So the plant should be there. And in this slide, we also define about sustainability. What sustainability is, that it is about the ability to our own human society to continue indefinitely within these natural cycles. So that means how within these natural cycles we can continue indefinitely. Yeah, next slide, please. So we keep consuming, we keep drawing from this environment, both from lithosphere as well as from biosphere, for our own operations. Okay. And next slide, please. So this creates this global warming tipping points, and we have numbered it as A, B, C, D. So like melting ice, forest loss, ocean current change, then permafrost pandemic, ocean heating, weight of rising seas, soils overheating, then water vapor increase, then albedo effect, methane release, and like that. So albedo effect is again interesting thing. It's not very common. So for your information, that our ability to reflect the sun, okay, reflect the sun ray, to what extent we can do it, and otherwise what happened? This Earth surface is getting warmer year on year. Okay, next one. So now this is what is the planet and the economy changing environment. So you have this system of production and population growing over time. So you have the environment, and in this blue box, you see the kind of economic activity that will happen and that the environment can take care. And now slowly you see that economic and our life activity has grown so much that the environment is not adequate to support it. Yeah, next slide. So now and this is how it is growing, because the way we are doing our consumption, the way this economic activity is growing, and this planet is not enough for us to sustain. And you see that how compared to the environment, it is growing. So there is a study that says that if everyone in the world leads the life of an average US citizen with the same level of consumption as the US citizen, then it will require 5.5 times the planet. If everyone in the world starts consuming like the way an average American consumes, then we'll need 5.5 times the planet. So you can well imagine the kind of danger that is dangling before us. Yeah, next slide, please. So now we see that what are the impact and policy response. Of course, we have United we have this United this nation, that Sustainable Development Goals. We have TCFD, this Paris Agreement, and then slowly a lot of issues are and lot of requirements are being forced on the business. Like within the next 5 years, the investors will measure a company's impact on society, government, and the environment to determine its worth. So as we see more and more this global supply chain, and like India is becoming an offshore hub, and we are providing supplies to the world, and so are many players from the emerging nations. So even though within our country, like even though in India, apart from those the top listed companies, it is not a mandatory requirement to report our ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance. But if we are supplying to any US or European client, then it is necessary to create our own ESG reports. So all of us, supplying to US and European companies, we must create our ESG report. So ESG reporting is coming up in a very big way, and at BIM, we made it a mandatory requirement for all faculty and students to learn this ESG reporting. And we have the Bloomberg Lab. Bloomberg has this ESG reporting. So everybody, all the students at BIM Trichy, they have done this this Bloomberg ESG certification, and all these higher education institutes, so they can find this as a sweet spot to support the companies in their local community who may not be mandated in India to do ESG reporting, but they need to create their own ESG reports to become or to remain qualified as a supplier to any US or Europe-based organization. So this is a big consulting opportunity, and we are doing it ourselves. Yeah, next one. So this again, COP29, it deliberated much on the kind of investment that is required to mitigate this climate challenge and climate technology. So this is where again these higher education institutes can play a role as to how this design thinking and innovation can be brought in to address this, because this COP29 remained inconclusive, but in India, we see that this is an opportunity for us to lead the momentum. Yeah, next one. So this policy response to climate change, we have this mitigation actions and also the adaptation. And I don't want to talk about it, and you can go through that. So how to mitigate it and what all we need to do to adapt. So let me go to the next slide. Yeah. So next slide, it is that climate change in India. So India is ranked the fifth most vulnerable nation and to the effect of climate change, and about 9x kind of annual investment required to meet the NDC target. So all the countries, they have their own this determined this climate actions. And if India has to fulfill that by 2030, it has to spend 9 times the investment. And the kind of this climate change that is happening, so it will reduce the farmers' income by 15 to 18%. By 2050, we see that there is a risk of 3% GDP reduction and impacting about 50% of the country's population. So this climate finance and green finance can play a crucial role in making India's economy resilient to climate change impact. Yeah, next one. So this is again to show different sovereign risks to climate change. What are the nations very vulnerable to climate change? And you see India is highly vulnerable. It's completely in red. Next one, please. So next one, again, it talks about the great right angle. You see that over the years, how this carbon dioxide, this concentration, parts per million, how it is rapidly increasing from 2000 onwards, post this industrial range. So you have the pre-industrial range, but post-industrial range, it is increasingly going up. Yeah, next one. So this is a Kaya identity. So carbon dioxide you can measure by population, into GDP by capita, and energy by GDP, and carbon dioxide per energy, what kind of energy. So this means to reduce this carbon dioxide. So how we need to work on this composition of the energy, that greenhouse gas as well as the renewable energy, and how we need to work around that. Yeah, next one, please. So sustainable development is again defined by this is the process that through which we move towards the sustainability, and it's a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it was defined during World Commission on Environment and Development 1987. We continue to follow that. Yeah, next one, please. So now, since I represent a business school, let me talk more about business. So business, you see that we have this balance sheet, we know, and we have the market cap. So this is the company value iceberg. So on top, what you see is that balance sheet, but below, there are several factors that lead to market cap. So next slide will give you more clarity. Next slide, please. So next slide, you see that this company value iceberg in the balance sheet. In the top, you have the tangible financials. So financials, all that your financial statement of account, they are tangibles. But intangibles are the non-financial ones like the brand image, reputation, stakeholder relationship, and together they contribute to the market cap. So next slide, please. And in 1981, 83% of these financials or tangibles contributed to the market cap, and only 17%, that is, of market cap came from these non-financial parameters. So financials parameters contributed to 83% of market cap, and non-financial parameters contributed to 17% of market cap as on 1981. Shall we go to the next slide? Next slide, slowly, 1991 to 1998, tangible financials, that proportion came down to 29%, and non-financials, intangibles, they went up to 71%. Next slide. And so this is a sea of demanding stakeholders. So even more relevant in a fossil fuel-based business today. So we are all presently still on a fossil fuel-based business. So financials is less and non-financials more. And in non-financials, a lot of pressures are there, more and more stakeholders like these employees, media, banks, customers, insurers, economists, global markets, investors, scientists, government, competitors, the public, NGOs. Okay, next slide, please. So this means the rise of concerns beyond profit. So it is not just profit, which is the financial parameters and which is just maybe less than 1/3 contributor of market cap, but it's more going beyond that. So from shareholder to stakeholder goals and social responsibility to impact the environment, the immediate community, and improve the efficiency and resource use. Shareholder wealth is again considered lower priority than outreach to a wider set of people connected with the business, and not profits only at all cost. Can you go to the next one? Next slide, please. Yeah, so ecological overshoot. The human footprint has more than tripled since 1960. So with this, as I shared the slide earlier, so we can no longer use the environment for long. Okay, so we are almost exhausting the limit. So we must control the way we are using the environmental resources. Yeah, next slide, please. So now, keeping this in mind, how should the Higher Education Institute contribute to climate action and sustainability? What do we do at the IIM Trichy? I tell you that I was talking to one university professor at University of Sussex. We are working with them on our sustainable development initiative. And that particular faculty told me when I invited him to come to Trichy, said that, sorry, boss, I can't travel in the next 3 months because I have exhausted my this carbon limit. So that means as you take a flight to travel somewhere or go by train, so each of our travel or movement has some kind of a carbon footprint. So there is a budget, carbon footprint budget for the faculty members. So do we follow that in India? I guess we don't. So this is something that we must keep in mind. I was also talking to a professor at IIM Ahmedabad. We are talking to them in connection with some of the Chief Minister's Fellowship program that we are running in Tamil Nadu. So that traceability solutions that we all hear about, that in operations management, in supply chain, we talk about traceability, but traceability issues have taken an extreme shape. It's like that you are getting milk and how to trace it to the sheep and where that sheep is grazed and which ground where it is grazed and how is that ground shaping up. Is it destroying the green there? So it is going to that extreme steps. So it is taking a crazy proportion of our time, and we need to take a serious look at it. While from the corporates, they are taking many interventions in terms of their this ESG reporting. And nowadays, apart from your financial reporting, you also need to include the ESG reporting. And on also they have their own like right from Coca-Cola, Infosys, Tata Group, everybody, all corporates, they have their own ESG target, they have their own climate policy. Like BIM also has its own policy on ESG, like by 2030, the 50% of the water that we consume should come from air moisture. I'll come to that subsequently. So the fact is that while the corporates are looking at it, while the government will look at climate finance issues, and while different technology innovations will take shape and see how we can mitigate the climate action in our own way, the question is that how should higher education institutes contribute to this climate action and sustainability, and what do we do at BIM Trichy? So this is the main part of my presentation. Earlier part, there must have been some repetition. You all will be knowing it, but I just wanted to share that to set the perspective. Next slide, please. So keeping this in mind, we set up Center for Sustainable Development 4 years ago, when not many B schools, including most of the IIMs, were not talking about that. So we are again one of the foremost to start that. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, in this, SDG Center, our thrust area has been rural entrepreneurship, then platform business for better market linkage and price discovery, water management, and renewable energy. Now, there are 17 these SDG goals. Now, you cannot be in every place, okay? So now we chose, these are our thrust area, and we created an ecosystem around us, like Irrigation Management and Training Institute, and this is located in Trichy. So we thought that what are the issues where we can, what are the areas where we can create maximum impact. So we have taken this irrigation aspect, rural entrepreneurship aspect as a thrust area, and we have tied up with AI/ML firm. We have tied up with IIT Madras Research Park, and we have also tied up with this Department of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture. So that way we have the domain, and we have the knowledge to process the data, and we have the best practices in water management from IIT Madras Research Park. And you know, in Tamil Nadu, there are a lot of water-related issues. There are flood and drought as well, and we are living on the Kaveri belt. So these are the thrust areas that we have chosen. So similarly, in your institute, you can choose what should be your thrust area, and there is no one size fits all. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is the ecosystem. So we cannot do it alone. So we became some kind of a catalyst to make it happen, and we have tied up with all these players. Yeah, next slide. Okay, so then today we have developed these competencies, and it is at par with the world standard. Like we can do CSR impact analysis, we can implement SDG at the grassroots, the district dashboards we are making. Our professors has been appointed as advisor for economic viability analysis in urban development and conceptualization and review of the city economic plan. So we are working with the government in this area, and also to identify what are the economic growth areas. We are consulting with the government, and also when it comes to water management, we are working in that. Capacity building is again coming up in a big way, like how to build this capacity. And for this capacity building, we are the academic partner of Tamil Nadu government to run their Chief Minister's Fellowship program on few theme areas. Like these theme areas like e-governance, water management, women empowerment, skill development, and there are a number of such theme areas. I'll come to that subsequently. AI in ESG is again another aspect. Like for ESG reporting, there are many standards floating around. There is no defined standard. And more than that, what happens, the authenticity of the data and the method to capture the data, there are many challenges. So our team is working on this use of AI/ML to capture this ESG data and report the same. Yeah, next slide, please. So these are some of the consulting assignments. So why I'm telling you that, so that you get inspiration from there and see as faculty members in your local ecosystem what all you can get. Like we did the impact evaluation of CSR activities of City Union Bank. Okay. Now we did CSR in the area of water conservation, CSR in the area of higher education, CSR towards emergency response like COVID rehab and all that. Then we have also done baseline estimation of service delivery, quality and quantity of perception in the water and sewerage service boards. And we are also working on focus block development plans. So these are all paid assignments that we received from different private sectors and also from the government sector. Next slide, please. Then these are some of the social immersion projects. So you all are doing social immersion projects, but see that how you can categorize the social immersion projects. It's not that working with any NGO, working with any government departments or private institutes. And we completed 30 plus projects in the last 3 years. You have to see that how these social immersion projects that can align with your thrust area in the area of climate change and climate action and sustainability, and build your own use cases and use that to go for the consulting assignments that are available in plenty. Yeah, next slide, please. Education and skill development. So this again we have done for this impact evaluation of CSIR's National Research Center for the banana program to upskill the farmers on tissue culture. See, this Kaveri belt is famous for the banana cultivation and the banana chips that you eat, and most of them will originate from this site. Then assessment of education intervention of 8 India among the rural household children, evaluating the impact of e-learning career guidance program for the government of Tamil Nadu. So this is how in education and skill development as well we have contributed. Yeah, next one. Industry innovation and infrastructure. So that is where innovative value addition technology from CSIR's National Research Center for Banana. So there we have worked out and we have done some study in small town and market linkages for the farmers. Then building grassroots level entrepreneurial ecosystem like Atal Incubation Center. We did it for Krishna Devaraya University. And in fact, okay, let me complete this list. Then I'll share some more stuff that are work in progress and we are doing it. Next one, please. Good health and nutrition. So again, I don't want to kind of repeat that. Evaluating the food habit and nutrition status of children from the lower income group. So we are working on it, and the list goes on. So these are reports that we have created. These are the paid assignments that we have carried out, and few projects are in the pipeline. So one project, let me share with you, though it has not yet started, but we are doing it. So that is like women receiving that 1,000 rupees per month. We are doing a study on what is the impact of paying that 1,000 rupees per month to the women. Okay. And similarly, there are many health related policies. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu also, there is a health related policy. And we find that these health related policies are not covering the other expenses like this out of insurance, like many of the medicines and other kind of expenses, and which is much more than what is covered by the insurance. So we are trying to work out some kind of a policy recommendation on that. These two are not yet kicked off, but we'll be doing it shortly. And we are trying to work it out with Tier 1 US university on a joint research program. Yeah, next one. Agriculture and rural economy. So that again, earlier we said that CSIR, National Research Center for Banana, we are doing a lot of activity, and also integrated farming by Kudumbam NGO, sustainable farm practices. So we are reviewing that, and we have created an impact report on this. Yeah, next one. So in the climate action, again, what happens, ways to tap the carbon credit market for advancing Tamil Nadu farmer livelihoods, linking the agriculture, agroforestry, carbon offsetting potential, CSIR again. So how to use that for carbon offsetting potential, we are supporting them. We are working on creating awareness of Ujala Yojana scheme in Tamil Nadu. So that we are doing with Department of Planning and Development, Government of Tamil Nadu. Yeah, next slide. So gender equity is again one aspect that we are looking at, that I am this ideating the strategies for sustainable this product development developed by the women self-help group, Department of Planning and Development of Government of Tamil Nadu. And like urban water supply, what is the gender differences in access to clean drinking water in urban areas, impact of farm and market linkages and skill development among the rural women. So that is again with one NGO we are working on. What is the impact of farm market linkages? Yes, go ahead. Next slide, please. Yeah. So private sector action on the climate change and SDGs. So this is where ESG metrics we are trying to work out. And we are also doing thematic analysis on corporate social responsibility, like understanding corporate donors' preference for the funding and how they allocate the budget for CSR from their annual budget. And of course, different ESG metrics related reporting, we are doing it as per different standards. As I said earlier, there is no definite standard to measure ESG. So we come up with we are given different standards. So accordingly, we work with our partners to plan this ESG reporting. In fact, if you are running the finance courses, so today finance course must have green finance as a part of curricula. Green finance is nothing but adding this ESG reporting along with your financial reporting. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is, we would like to walk the talk. So extensively, we are using this solar panel, and there is 100% thrust on renewable energy. So this is how we are doing it. So extensive use of solar panels. Yeah, next one. So this is called Biojal. So this is a IIT Madras product. So what they do is that they create pure drinking water, taking moisture from the air. And you know, this Trichy, Tamil Nadu, there is a lot of moisture in the air. And the coastal area, there will be moisture. And I don't know about Rourkela, but I'm sure Bhubaneswar also will have a lot of moisture. So can we create drinking water from the moisture? So I have banned all the plastic bottles, and I have stopped buying those mineral water for the institute. And I'm mandating my team to ensure that 50% of the drinking and cooking water will come from this biojol, this machine. This machine is expensive, but it's worth the effort. Yeah. Next one. So this is our second campus that is coming up, and we are a zero debt institute, and we are completely self-funded. We do not take any fund from the government, university, UGC, or any such body. We completely generate our own fund, and this on this 18 acres land, this institute is coming up. So this is where we are using the complete sustainable manufacturing practice, sustainable materials, and it's a completely energy efficient building, and so much so that we are one of the very few institutes in the country that we have gone for ISO 14001 2015. So ISO 14001 2015, this is for the environment quality system. So we have voluntarily adopted that standard, and we are working on it, trying to improve on it, and eventually it will be a green campus. So next slide, I'll show you how we are doing the tree replantation. In the process of building this campus, we have not cut any single tree. Okay, so next slide, please. And there is a short video. Maybe we can play it for 30 seconds. Next video, please. Yeah, can you play this video for about 30-45 seconds? Is the video playing?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now you can go to the play button and try out.
Just a second, sir. Let me check. No, sir. Actually, it is in quick time, and that is not there with us.
Okay, okay, fine. So what I tried to show is that several trees, and on this 18 acres ground, there are many trees because this land is very old. So we have not cut any tree for our building, new building. So we have removed them and replanted at areas where this building is not coming up, which is a free land. And in the process, for each tree, almost we spend more than ₹1,00,000. It is not easy. It is very difficult replanting, and there is 50% success rate. So that means if you replant 20 trees, so maybe 10 will survive. But I'm happy to say that most of the trees have survived. Okay. So next slide, please. Yeah. And you can see this video on BIM website. So it works there. So can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So now what happens is that sustainability has to be there, part of your positioning. Okay, we do our vision exercise, mission exercise. So how do you position BIM? So 4 years ago, we decided that we don't want to be another IIM or another institute offering n number of MBS and and playing on scales like the way most of the large private institutes operate, or many of the IIMs operate. So we don't want to play like that. Rather, we would like to be known as MICA, as MICA is known for marketing communication, as XLRI is known for its HR and OB. Similarly, BIM should be known for its thrust on new technology applications and sustainable development. That means if you are a faculty member looking for opportunity to teach new technology applications or sustainable development, or to do research in that area, then BIM should be the place. If you are a recruiter, you are looking for associates in new technology applications or sustainable development. Say, for example, you want to build a large language model in HR, or you want to create your own market basket analysis and build your own recommendation engine, or if you want to create some fintech enablement, or if you want to want someone in HR analytics, or you want someone in say digital supply chain, then BIM should be the place to go. So this is how we position BIM, and this is how we are progressing. So you will see that in the positioning statement itself, we have talked about sustainable development, and whatever the real life projects we are doing on sustainable development, it is because of that trust. It starts with the positioning. And apart from that positioning, it has to come into your curriculum. Can you go to the next slide? See, any B school will have a definite character. So this is again, my source is there. You can take a screenshot. You can also take copy of this presentation. So any school will be known. Uh, there is teaching and research, and the impact that you create, it can have impact on the organization, like that means the more consulting side, or it will have impact on the scholarly side. That means a lot of high-end research work you are contributing. So all the institutes will demonstrate all the four qualities. Like you'll be doing consulting, you'll be impacting industry, you'll be writing papers and publishing them, you'll be teaching well, you will also have faculty who will be researching well. But all organization cannot demonstrate all these four qualities at the same level. So you have four quadrants. You can be like a professional school, you can be a knowledge economy school, you can be in social science, you can be on some liberal arts, like this. So you can always work around like, okay, like say when it comes to say IIT or NIT, so that is mostly into the knowledge economy. You are doing research, you are impacting industry. Professional school, like when it comes to say BIM or IIMs or SPGMR, they are more like professional school. And liberal arts, most of the universities, they are more into liberal arts or social science. Okay, so this is how you have to see where you position your institute. Can you come to the next slide? So based on that, there are multiple profiles. So you exhibit all the four aspects like professional, knowledge co-production, social science, liberal arts. So while I said that NIT Rourkela is mostly into knowledge co-production, so it is also in say professional activity. It is also in liberal arts. It is also in social science. But the degree, the extent of that will vary. So this is how you have to map where your institute is, where you are putting your focus. So it has to be programmatic. It should not be opportunistic. It should not be you see some opportunity somewhere, you immediately jump into it, because the resource that we are using, that is coming from the students' tuition fees, that may be coming from the government fees. So we have to ensure that the investment that we make, that aligns with this our this institutional existence, institutional vision. Next slide, please. So the question is that when I looked at BIM, then my question is that which areas should take the priority? In which types of activity does BIM want to build a reputation? What implication does this have for faculty recruitment, development, and retention? Where should it direct its resource? So once you know that what is the differentiator of my institute, what is the positioning of my institute, then all the investment that I'll be making in terms of research, in terms of research grant, in terms of faculty recruitment, development, and retention will be directed to that. So when I recruit a faculty, I try to see that if that faculty is aligned with the new technology application, is he updated on new technology applications. So I do not want any generic faculty to be on board. Okay. Yeah, next slide. So keeping that in mind, so what happens that these are the three institutional focus area we have chosen. Impact of Industry 4.0 in marketing and finance, then operational excellence, and SDG and ESG. So all my efforts are directed to these three aspects. So similarly, all the institutes, since your fund is budget is restricted, limited, so we must align it to our area of focus. So these three are our area of focus. If you see our faculty recruitment and all the research that we are doing, and so we have started building our research output. In the past, it was not so good, but I'm recruiting some of the faculty who are good in the research. So it is progressively, it is moving up. And BIM is the smallest, or it is the tiniest institute in the NIRF top 100 list. So running only with only the MBA program, without a PhD program, only with 120 students, we are in top 100 B school list. So this happens because of this focus that I'm talking about. Yeah, next slide, please. Next slide. So this is how we have to create this. You have to see IF1, IF2, IF3. These are your institutional focus area. And then AF1, AF2, AF3 are the domain focus area. So if you are in HR, so that means maybe HR is the AF1, finance could be AF2, and marketing could be AF3. Now in marketing, I may not be doing much research on branding. Why should I allocate a huge fund on the branding? But I'll allocate a good fund in branding if it is impact of AI/ML on branding, or AI marketing, or AI/ML in finance, or the ESG reporting in finance, or in digital HR related areas. So this is how we are looking at. We have created this area focus and institutional focus matrix. So each area, you have all the areas. So each area will have a focus area. An institute also has its own focus area based on its positioning. So you create the matrix and see how you can align it. And our credo line is influencing tomorrow. So that means how institutional focus area and area focus area can converge to create that. Okay, next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this is again, we have a sustainability day, and we celebrate and we recognize efforts like the Sacred Groves. So they created a forest itself. Some alumni, they came together, created a forest by itself, and this award is being given by the Chief Secretary of Tamil Nadu. Yeah, next slide. We can quickly go to the next slide. This again, the Pollinate group got this award, and because of their effort in creating this empowerment, women empowerment at the base level. Okay, yeah. Next slide. This is the sustainability award. It's given to Schneider Electric for their efforts in sustainability and climate action. Next slide. And it is again to the country environment chief, health and safety of 3M. So 3M also got this health and safety in that. And all these parameters, you can club them under one of those 17 SDGs. So this is one aspect that we celebrate this climate action at a base level. We recognize those efforts and build consensus. Okay, next slide, please. And we are actively working with the state government. So taste of pudding is in eating. So that means if today our Center for Sustainable Development is 4 years old, today if we claim that we have all these competencies, so that must manifest in something. So next slide. So this is my picture with the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's fellow participants, and also with the Finance Minister and Chief Minister of that time. So 22-24, we conducted this Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Fellowship Program. Just keep in mind that Tamil Nadu is the second largest state in terms of GDP. And Tamil Nadu is already advanced in when it comes to SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And it is very, very difficult to run a program in Tamil Nadu because you need to really, really scale up. For your information, that again, for 24-26, for the second batch also, we got this fellowship program. And we are, apart from Ashoka University, we are the only non-IIM institute to run a fellowship program for a state. It is a 2 years fellowship program. End of that, all the participants can either enroll for a PhD program with Anna University under our mentorship, or they can be absorbed, in line with our usual placement process. Next slide, please. And we are also the academic partner for Tamil Nadu State Planning Commission for the Focus Block Development Program. This is in line with the aspirational block program that the Government of India runs. We identify that there are some blocks in Tamil Nadu which can improve on some of the parameters like health and nutrition, education, then skill development and employment, social welfare, economic development, agriculture and allied service, infrastructure, then infrastructure development. These are the themes. So we are working on these themes and try to see that how the blocks can improve. Next slide, please. So for your example, like one theme, so we saw quite a few themes that we are working on, and one theme is like health and nutrition. In health and nutrition, one theme, there are sub-themes, 3 sub-themes. So I'm just talking about only one sub-theme, that is like say maternal and child health. Under that, then there are a whole lot of indicators. So totally you have some about 80 indicators that we are working on. I just quickly read out those indicators, like status of maternal healthcare facilities, percentage of pregnant women who receive the benefits under Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy Maternity Benefit Scheme, or percentage of high-risk mothers referred to higher referral centers for further management in the block, or percentage of pregnant women treated for anemia in the block. Then indicators on infant well-being, sex ratio at birth in the block, ratio of female births to 1,000 male births, infant mortality rate in the blocks, number of infant deaths per 1,000 live births, Maternal mortality rate in the block, number of maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. Then percentage of low birth weight, less than say 2.5 kilo babies in the block. Then percentage of immunization of children 0 to 2 years in the block. So these are some of the indicators. So like this, there are about 100 indicators across different sub-themes and theme that we are working on, and see what kind of schemes are working. Like all the schemes, all the state government have number of schemes, and all these schemes are addressing some of the themes and sub-themes. So we are trying to analyze through systemic approach, system thinking approach, then that what all themes, what all schemes are overlapping, what all schemes are creating more impact, what all schemes are not creating that much impact, what can be taken up, and what can be even dropped. So for your information, in fact, when we are creating an ecosystem, so we need support from all the faculty members around here. And so we cannot build all the competency ourselves, but we are trying to create an ecosystem of knowledge ecosystem, so that we can address all these issues at the grassroots. And if we can support the local ecosystem, then India as a whole can progress. And Tamil Nadu has its own target by 2030. Tamil Nadu wants to be or aspires to be a $1 trillion economy. So this happens when at the grassroots level we bring positive change. And in this ecosystem, like we also have Professor Manavendra, who is here on this call and who is organizing this, who invited me. So he also addressed the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Fellowship participants. And I see that NIT Rourkela, and I attended one workshop by NIT Rourkela as well, that they have a good asset, knowledge asset in terms of SDG and climate actions. So I'm sure that all the institutes participating in this faculty development programs. So all the institutes have its own core competency, own area of strength. So if we can create an ecosystem connecting with each other, then collaboratively we can do a lot. Next slide, please. So do you know who is this girl? Can you play the video? Is it possible or not? Okay, since I've already exceeded time, so you can do a search. Her name is...
Sorry, sir, we are not able to play the video.
Yeah. So her name is Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg. So you can do a search for her. And she's a Swedish environmentalist. And she started the school strike for climate when she was just about 13. She refused to come to school by car or van. Rather, she preferred to cycle down. And when she was just about 13, she was passionate about this climate action. And she created that campaign called School Strike for Climate. And she in fact, she was the catalyst to force Swedish government to agree to the Paris Climate Pact. And she's just 22 years old. She is the youngest climate activist, and she is a college student. So what it means when we talk about higher education institutes' response to climate change, so this begins with our own behavior. We need to walk the talk. It is not a PowerPoint presentation. We need to demonstrate what we are doing myself, what I'm doing myself, what I'm doing as an institute. Are we following it ourselves, or not just mirroring giving a faculty development lecture based on PPT, but are we following it ourselves? So I've shared with you like how what is BIM's program architecture, what is our positioning, and how this climate action sustainability drives come from right from this positioning to allocation of resources to different priorities that we set. And finally, you can do this search for Greta Thunberg, this Swedish young climate activist, and how she went about doing it. So that means it all comes down to our own behavior, and each one of us can champion this. So with this, so I conclude my presentation. So can you come to the last slide? So let's leave the planet better than how we inherited it. So this is our theme at BIM. At BIM, we are committed to leave the planet better than how we inherited it. So we try to implement it in our curriculum, in our courses, in our actions, in our investment, and the way we prioritize different actions at the institute. So thank you so much for this time given to me and for the patient hearing. And if you have any question, then I can take that question.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, United Nation, UNDESD, United Nation Decade for Education for Sustainable Development, UN has started off.
Yeah.
If you talk about even for the sustainability reporting, government means organizations are actually doing so. Even educational institutions are also doing. But if you talk about the Indian perspective, we have a very limited sustainability reporting from the Indian side.
Yeah.
So why? What are the reasons why is it so?
Yeah, because in India, we are not enforcing it like the way they do it in US and Europe. So in India, most of the sustainability reporting are voluntary, and except maybe if I'm not mistaken, maybe the Nifty 50 or maybe the top 100, stocks that is traded. So they need to do the ESG disclosure, but for the rest of them, it is completely voluntary. So most of the ESG reporting, if you go to all the top corporates, I wanted to show some of the reports, but there is no time. You'll find everybody is reporting. Infosys working, they have a huge team working on ESG reporting. So there is a huge pressure on ESG reporting, and it is voluntarily taken. But at the same time, if anyone is any organization or institute is supplying any commodity or services abroad, especially to US and Europe, they need to do their disclosure, SDG and ESG reporting. So they are doing it. Even the academic institutes are not mandated to do the ESG reporting. But I was quite surprised to see the other day, like IMT Ghaziabad. If you do if you search for IMT Ghaziabad ESG and SDG reporting, you will find their report available on the website. So I'm also trying to create my own ESG and SDG report on BIM that will be available maybe another 2 to 3 months time. So you all can start doing your ESG and SDG reporting on a voluntary way. And when we do this ESG and SDG reporting, that go a long way to enhance your reputation. And the starting point is this ISO 14001:2015, this certification. And in fact, this certification body, you can note down, this is called ISO 14001:2015. And they asked me that, are you serious? Do you really want to do this standardization? I said, yes, I am. Usually education institutes, they don't go for it. Corporates only go for it. But I said, no, I want to do it, and I want to improve on it. So any ISO certification, they identify many areas of improvement. We are working on it. Okay, there are several areas of improvement, right from your food waste to so on and so forth. So you can look at the IMT Ghaziabad ESG reporting. I'm sure IIM Ahmedabad and others, they will also have their own reporting. So that could be a starting point. And at the same time, ESG reporting, if you build your skill set, then slowly it will be mandated. And already this NIRF, if you want to be in NIRF rank, NIRF has created a separate category on this SDG and ESG. So slowly, educational institutes also will be mandated, because to be in NIRF rank, and NBA is also mandating it. If you are going for ASSB accreditation, then they are also looking for this kind of ESG and sustainable development initiatives. So while at the moment, most of the reporting in India is either voluntary, or they are compelled by their customer abroad. Okay, so you need to submit your ESG or SDG report to supply to your customers in US or Europe. That's why Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, they are spending a lot of money in their reporting. Otherwise, it is not mandated, it is voluntary. But this voluntary process itself is going to be a mandatory one. And that creates a good opportunity for academic institutes like ours. That is where if you build your skill, and like NIT, Rourkela has a good skill. I know that IIM Mumbai has got a good skill. IIM Kolkata has developed a good skill. BIM Trichy has built a good capability. So this can be a business unit within ourselves. So gradually, all the institutes need to be self-sufficient. We cannot rely on government fund all the time. We need to generate our own cash. In fact, since inception, BIM has been completely self-funded, and we are constructing our own campus on 18 acres of land completely through our own fund without any external help. So when this happens, so you need to find different ways of earning apart from the tuition fees, and consulting is one major areas. So we find that this kind of ESG reporting or consulting in this exercise, and many of the corporates, and most of the corporates, they have the CSR compulsion, like 15% of their this profit they need to invest on CSR activities. So all of them, they need to do CSR impact analysis. So if you can do this impact analysis, so all this can be a good source of income for the institutes. So am I clear? Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even if you see like the top ranking agencies, QS or THE, they have also included sustainability in their parameters.
Correct.
So as on date, this is a term which is like we have to live with the sustainability concept or something.
Correct. Absolutely. So this is time, and this is a sweet spot that we chose. We started building this competency 4 years ago, and so today we have reached this level. So you can, all of you can do that, and you can support your local ecosystem. Like here, we have a banana research farm, so we are supporting them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for insightful session, and even how the BIM is actually developing into the area of sustainability, its own capabilities. That is amazing.
Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
So please feel free to reach me, and you can mail me at director@bim.edu, and I am open to collaborate with all of you and with your institutes, and jointly we can do magic. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.